Actual Test 5. You'll hear a number of different recordings and you'll have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions and you'll have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between an event director and a student at a conference for studying abroad. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You'll see that there is an example, which has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first. Hi there, how are you? I am glad that you came to the convention today. We have a lot of schools here today talking about study abroad programs. You can talk to them and find out which program works best for you. We also have a presentation called How to Prepare for University Studies. The event is called How to Prepare for University Studies, so that has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5. Hi there, how are you? I'm glad that you came to the convention today. We have a lot of schools here today talking about study abroad programs. You can talk to them and find out which program works best for you. We also have a presentation called How to Prepare for University Studies. I recommend that you attend. The presentation starts at 9 a.m. and it will help you understand what you need to do before you go to university. It will take place in the Blue Room.
Oh, the Blue Room? Where is that?
Let me explain the schedule first. Then I'll tell you about where the events are.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, so the conference organizer will talk about 30 minutes telling you how to prepare for university-level courses. They can be very tough for new students. He will also talk about the special needs of international students. They have a different set of issues to deal with than students from the home country.
So you said that was in the Blue Room?
Yes, that's right. And after that, you can go into the conference room at 10 o'clock.
What is happening there?
That's where the booths are.
Booths? What kind of booths?
One for each school grouped into sections. People from each individual school will be able to give you information about different kinds of programs abroad. Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Okay, so how do I get around the conference room?
Right, let me tell you about how to get there first. So when you exit the Blue Room, you have to turn left. Walk until you get to the end of the hallway and you'll see 2 doors on both sides of you. The conference room is on your right. The room on the left side is the banquet hall, but there aren't any events scheduled there for today.
Oh, okay, the banquet hall is where the washrooms are.
Yes, the washrooms are at the very back on the side opposite the doors.
All right then, so how many schools will be represented?
We have over 50 schools here today.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
That's okay. I'll give you a brief layout. The booths are laid out by region. That means schools from the same country will be in the same section. The first section you see when you enter the conference room are the schools from Australia.
I see. That is quite a popular destination these days. What other sections are there?
If you walk further on, the next section will have schools from Europe. Most of them are from England, but there are other countries as well.
Oh, yes. Are there any places where I can get refreshments?
Of course. Talking can work up an appetite. Refreshments are available all the way in the back of the conference room, past the Australian and European sections.
Thanks for all the help.
No problem. That is the end of Section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 2. Section 2. You'll hear an orientation given to new students about technology services on campus. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen to the first part of the orientation and answer questions 11 to 15. Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone has enjoyed orientation week so far. I know that you all have been getting quite a bit of information, but I really do need to give you some more regarding the Information and Computer Services, ICS, here at Kudrow College. I've been here long enough to remember when kids hauled their typewriters around. Having a computer, whether it is a desktop or laptop, is now indispensable. They are so necessary, in fact, that our school is willing to help students with financial aid if they need it in order to purchase a computer. If you want to know how the school can help you get a computer, please visit our website or the ICS Centre. Though we coordinate the One Student, One Computer program, our main task at ICS is to help students deal with any technical issues that they have. We have a help desk where students can call in and ask about any computer problems they have. At this time of the school year, the help desk assists students with connecting computers to the school network. Included in your orientation packets are instructions on how to do so. As you can see, the instructions for connecting a Windows-based PC is much more complicated than for an Apple computer. We actually recommend the latter because it is good for students to focus on their work, not on solving problems that come from the computer's operating system. If you call the help desk, you can also get help with things like connecting your printer. Best of all, if your computer is having major problems, you can bring it in and get it serviced. Before you hear the rest of the orientation, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20. I will tell you how to bring in your computer if you have any problems with it. If I'm not there, you can talk to the full-time attendant, Jacob. That's Jakob, Bianchi. Jacob has many years of experience in computer service. Please feel free to ask him anything. He is there Monday through Friday and can figure out what you need help with. We are located in Taylor Building. Our extension is 7760. This year, we also have extended opening hours. We are open both weekdays and weekends. During the week, we are open from 9 to 7 and on Saturdays from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Fill out a form and if you need to drop your computer off, we'll get it fixed right away. Thank you all for listening and good luck with your studies. That is the end of Section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You're going to hear an explanation of how a school chancellor will be chosen. The chairman is explaining the process to two students, Sarah and Arnold. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25. Good evening, everyone. I hope you've both taken a look at the documents given to you. As student members of the University Chancellor Selection Committee, you will help to select a new Chancellor for our university. This person will be responsible for the operations, academics, and budget of the university. Today, I want us to talk about getting feedback from other students and about the selection process.
Okay, so what exactly will our roles be?
You both are full members of the committee representing the interests of the student body. When we go over the applicants for Chancellor, your votes will count the same as other committee members.
The same as other faculty and administrators? Okay.
Indeed. It is important to have student input in the selection process. That will be part of your duties as committee members, to talk to the student body and get a feeling for what they want in a new Chancellor. You will report back to me, the committee chairman, and then talk to the rest of the committee. I suggest that you contact the student newspaper and ask them to do some sort of survey. You both can also talk to the heads of various student organizations and gauge their opinions.
All right, what sort of questions should we ask?
Well, if you know of any issues important to the student body as a whole, you can ask them about that. I know that there was a recent increase in student fees. Since the Chancellor is in charge of the budget process, he or she will certainly be involved with that. That is one topic that everyone can be asked about.
A question about financial issues? Okay. You also mentioned going to different student groups. I was wondering, would that be appropriate? If the Chancellor is the head of the whole university, is it that important to ask the opinions of a smaller individual organisation?
Definitely. They may be smaller organizations, but they often represent a wide number of students. It would be in the best interests of the school to have a Chancellor that understands the needs of not just the community as a whole, but of the different parts that make up that whole.
I see. I guess it would be best to contact the leadership group of each club and group?
Yes, actually, that would probably be the most efficient way to get their opinion. Before you hear the rest of the explanation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30. After you get a feel for what the student body thinks, I would like you to create a report for me. As chairman, I am responsible for making sure the different views of the students, faculty, and the administration are heard.
So what happens after we submit our report to the rest of the committee?
We'll start with the rest of the selection procedures. We have an open process, meaning anyone who wants to can apply to be Chancellor. That way, we will have the widest available pool to choose from. Of course, the first step will be to narrow down the field of applicants. Looking at their background and work experience, we will end up with 15 candidates. There will be further background checks on the remaining candidates. These checks include talking to the references a candidate has listed, as well as asking about them at any previous institution they may have worked at.
This is quite a rigorous process, isn't it?
It has to be. The Chancellor represents the university, so we need the best qualified person. After the background checks, we will contact candidates and ask them to come in for an interview before the committee.
I remember hearing that we'll also be sitting in on those interviews. It'll be difficult to think of good questions to ask all those candidates.
Well, I think the committee as a whole will do that.
Okay. That sounds like the best way.
Yes, it's quite a rigorous interview process. Each candidate will have to come in a second time. The final 5 candidates will then be asked to come in a third time and actually interact with some of the community members here. After the committee chooses the finalist, that one name will be sent to the Board of Trustees to be approved. They will also go over the candidate's material before having an up or down vote on him or her.
Then that person becomes the Chancellor of the university? It is good to have so many people working together on this. I'm sure we'll find a great Chancellor.
Yes, actually there are many interesting stories about past selection committees. That is the end of Section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 4. Section 4. You will hear a presentation given by someone training as a teacher. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 34. Now listen to the beginning of the presentation and answer questions 31 to 34.
Hello everybody, how are you all doing? We are going to have a presentation done by Yuri today. She is going to tell us about an art project she did while at her last teacher training session. Yuri?
Thank you so much. Yes, I was at Arlington Elementary for the months of November and December. I taught several periods of 5th grade classes during my time there. Since it was the holiday season, I chose to do some craft projects with the kids. They are not hard. Cleaning up after the projects is easy, and the materials can be found anywhere. To do this, you first have to give reasons to the kids about why they are making holiday decorations. You can tell them that during this time of year, there are several traditions that different groups of people celebrate. The one I am going over is general in nature and can be used in any of them. In one project, we started with paper bags. With a pencil, we then drew the outline of our holiday decoration. The outline has to be entirely within the borders of the paper bag and also must generally be circular in shape. Once the outline was drawn, we carefully used craft scissors to cut the bag along the pencil outline. Since this was done on the paper bag, everyone should have ended up with 2 pieces of paper that are the same exact shape, but are mirror images of each other. For the next part, we used thick cardboard, poster board, or styrofoam can also be used. We took one of our paper bag shapes and traced the outline onto the cardboard. Using the craft scissors again, we made a piece of cardboard similar in shape to our paper bag cutouts. After that step, we proceeded to the rest of the project.
Before you hear the rest of the presentation, you have some time to look at questions 35 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 35 to 40.
To finish up the project, we have to affix the paper bag cutouts to the cardboard. Any sort of adhesive can be used, but I prefer to give my kids glue sticks. Liquid glue can be quite messy, and with glue sticks, it is easier to control the amount of adhesive used. After attaching the 2 cutouts to both sides of the cardboard, we waited a little bit to let the glue dry. In that time, I prepared the various materials necessary for personalizing their decorations. These included color markers, gold and silver glitter, different colors of yarn, felt pieces, ribbon, and buttons. I told my students that their decoration could not use more than 3 different materials. One reason for this was aesthetic. Using too many different kinds of materials would result in a tacky decoration. The other reason was practical. For everyone, there would be enough materials to share. As you can see, I've brought some of the decorations my kids made to show you what the final results are. Martin chose to use only the markers, and only 2 colors at that, but created really nice geometric stripes on his holiday decoration. Lydia used 3 different types of material, the ribbon, buttons, and pieces of the black felt, to create decoration that looked very much like an animal. The last one I want to show you is really great and surprised me with its creativity, using just different lengths of colored yarn. Judy made a very convincing holiday landscape on her decoration. You can easily make out the hills and trees of what looks like a rural area. Well, I hope this presentation was useful. Thank you for your time.
Wow, that was great, Yuri. I think the other teachers will definitely learn something from this.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. In the Ielts test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.